I saw a stat today that said in the next 10 years, 50% of the jobs we currently have will be gone. 50%. I've been saying for a while, and people don't really understand what's coming, and I think you do, that with the technological revolution, we're facing something like the Industrial Revolution that happened over a 100-year period in a 10-year period. And I said, at some point, we're going to start this clock, and it'll be 10 years, and you will not recognize anything anymore, because everything will change because of technology. Well, I think the stats that came out today, where they said in 10 years 50% of the jobs will be gone, I think we've hit that clock now. And if we don't know who we are, how we got here, why we came here, and why we are facing what we're facing, we're not going to make it. So we have to put history in its rightful place. And it's not enough. I probably 10 years ago, I was a real big flag waver kind of guy. I mean, I have to tell you, Mark, a guy like you probably would have really pissed me off 15 years ago because I was much more God and country and, damn right I'm saying the Pledge of Allegiance with my hand over the heart, and I'm going to sign that flag-burning amendment and all of that stuff. I don't feel that way now about the flag-burning amendment because the flag is what it represents. The Constitution gives you that right. I don't want to burn the flag. I think it's disrespectful. I think it's horrible. But you have that right to do it. And what we've done is we've replaced the real deep meaning of freedom with just the red, white, and blue in these images, and we've done it, and they did it intentionally. The progressives did it by erasing our history. And so we can't point to any real heroes anymore. We can't point to those people, the people that we look to and say, well, that's a hero. Most likely they're not. There's a chapter in here, I think it's chapter 3 on Woodrow Wilson, that is deeply personal for me because I think that SOB is the reason why we're here. He's the guy who, Teddy Roosevelt, a Republican, really important to know the progressive movement started with the Republicans, but a Republican started it, but it was Woodrow Wilson that did to the country what we're now seeing the finish point of right now. And in fact, I think Barack Obama is repeating the Wilson administration almost verbatim. The only two things that are left to repeat is the crash of 1920 or 21, which was deeper than the Great Depression, and the other was a plague. We had the influenza pandemic. Those are the only two things. Everything else is being repeated, and almost verbatim. But Woodrow Wilson was such a bad guy. People don't understand. And all of these liberal professors are saying he's one of the top 5 presidents of all time. He was, first of all, see if this sounds familiar, listen to what the president is saying right now about all of his policies. He's just going to sign these executive orders. And last week he said, the problem with the American people is he hasn't been able to sell it enough. He hasn't been able to get in really been able to make the explanation. One of his advisors said, well, you know what? Yes, we had to lie about it. You heard that. We had to lie about it, but you know what? We got health care, and so the American people are just stupid. That's exactly the stuff that was happening with Wilson. And Wilson, at the end of his administration, went onto the road to sell the League of Nations, something the Americans didn't want, and something that the American people, they had enough of the progressive movement. They were scared by it, that just exactly the same way as we're sitting here. And he went on the road, and he's in the middle of his speech, he has a stroke, and he's so arrogant, he wouldn't sit down. And they load him up on a train, and they bring him back to Washington. Most people don't know this. Edith Wilson was the president of the United States for the last 18 months of
very true
his term. That's insane. We had our first woman president. It was Edith Wilson. She was actually taking and signing everything and directing the country.
It's quite true. You've done more to expose Woodrow Wilson than anybody I know. And, of course, he was a racist, and he was an anti-Semite, and he was a segregationist. And you're right, the professors... You know what's amazing?
Yeah. He is beloved, and the progressives are always the ones that are made to look like they do so much great for the African-American. Ask the African-American how things are working out in Detroit, how they're working out in Chicago, how they're working out in major cities. Ask them how their job and unemployment numbers are under this administration or in the administrations that they have in these large cities in Philadelphia. But what's amazing is Woodrow Wilson, we had a desegregated military. Blacks and whites served together. It was Woodrow Wilson who came back in and resegregated the military. Amazing racism.
All right, hold on.
Talk about it.
Can I carry you over just for a few minutes?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Beck, the book is Dreamers and Deceivers, True Stories of the Heroes and Villains Who Made America. And by the way, the best place to get it, glennbeck.com. That's glennbeck.com. Glenn, we only have a couple of minutes. What is it that you want to get across with this book?
That the villains are not always who they seem to be, and the dreamers are critical to our future. And right now, we are extolling all of the deceivers. We are looking at, really listen just to what the White House has said about how they passed health care, that it's the stupidity of the American people. We can do better than this. We deserve better than this. And we have to be responsible enough to demand that people don't lie to us. The deceivers will always take us down the wrong path. But just as important, the dreamers and what they went through to be able to get that dream on the road. When you read about the guy who started AM and FM radio and how, in the end, he threw himself out of a building. He threw himself out of his apartment building because of Sarnoff. The guy was just ravaged his whole life and couldn't take it in the end. But it was his dreams that gave us the device that people are listening to us right now. Years before it even came out, he was on top of it. Walt Disney, the same thing. Nobody believed in him. Same thing with Steve Jobs. People just didn't listen to him. Lasseter at Pixar. Nobody was really listening to him. These dreamers, it is important that we teach our kids, don't listen to people who say you can't do it. With hard work, with perseverance, and never giving up, you can be the next Tesla. You can be the next Steve Jobs. You can be the next Mark Levin. You just apply yourself and follow your heart, follow your brain, and just keep going.
Boy, that's beautiful. And it's so true. And the book is absolutely terrific. Dreamers and Deceivers, True Stories of the Heroes and Villains Who Made America by my friend Glenn Beck. Glenn, from Julie and me to you and your wife and your family, we hope you have a healthy future.
Thank you very much, Mark.
And God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you for your friendship. God bless you.
All right. You take care. I've gotten to know him a little bit, and I really like him a lot. He's got a wonderful family. You can disagree with this side or the other. Look, people do that with me, too. People criticize him who've never met him, who don't know him, who are jealous of him. He's had a very interesting life. He's had a very challenging life. And, we got off on the wrong foot. And we figured out why, and we figured out who was behind it. But it's a great book. Glenn Beck, Dreamers and Deceivers, True Stories of the Heroes and Villains Who Made America. I strongly encourage you to get it. glennbeck.com. That's glennbeck.com.